Hi everyone. Today we'll learn how to make a frequency curve. So if we have an example to construct a frequency polygon from the following age distribution of 60 teachers using a freehand curve. And the distribution that is given to us is this. Now these are the age classes and these are the number of teachers in each of the classes. Now the thing to note here is that we have to create a frequency polygon, and that too we have to do it with a freehand curve. Because if we make a graph directly out of this data, what we'll get is a histogram. And histogram simply because we have classes here, which gives these blocks width. This is 24 to 28 and 28 to 32. But what we need is a frequency polygon. So what we need is points, something like this. When we have points corresponding to each class, then we can make a freehand curve like this. And to convert this into this, what we need is, instead of classes, we need single points, we need single numbers representing each of the classes. And let's see an idea how we can represent this class with a single number. So let's keep our table here and let's write down our steps. So first, we'll find a single representative of a class. Now an idea can be to take the midpoint of the class as the class mark. So we can take example as midpoint of the class. And if we take the midpoint of the class, one by one, we get a table here of the classes. And let's make another column, age mark, which is the midpoint. Then the age mark of this class would be 24 plus 28 divided by 2, which would be 26. Similarly, for 28 to 32 class, it would be 28 plus 32 divided by 2, which would be 30. And similarly, for all the classes, we can get the midpoints. So for this class, it would be 34. For 36 to 40, it would be 38. For 40 to 44, it would be 42. And for 44 to 48, it would be 46. And now we can take the frequency, which is the number of teachers, column right here, and then we can construct a graph like this. Because now we can construct a graph between age mark, which is the class mark, versus frequency, which is the number of teachers. So each of our points would be mark, comma, frequency, where we will write the age mark in x-axis and the frequency, which is the number of teachers, in the y-axis. So let's write down our points. So we have a points like 26, 12 would be here. Another point would be 30, 10. Then it would be 34, 15. Here is 38, 9, 42, 8, and 46, 6. But our work is still not done. Because let's get back to our previous example and let's see where the difference is. So if we have this rough representation of what a histogram and a frequency polygon is, what we see here is that the total histogram area, the total area under this histogram, should be equal to the total frequency. And that total frequency, what it means is the total number of observations. And since we are taking the same data for both the histogram and the frequency polygon, the total number of observations or the area under the curve should be same for both, right? But now if we construct the frequency polygon here, which we took by taking the midpoints of classes, so it will be like this. What you can see here, and I zoom it here, that there would be always some area which would be not included in this curve, like this area, then there's this area, and so on. And so our frequency polygon will not take into account this area, but this area has to be compensated. So for that, there's a trick that we do, and that is we extend this curve somehow. If we take this area also, we make another point such that one point is here and another point is here, and we join it to the frequency polygon, like here and here, then this additional area that we got, this one, combined with the additional area that this frequency polygon already has, which is this and this, it compensates the lack of area that we took of the histogram. And then it makes sense when the areas of both this curve and the histogram would be equal. So this is the general idea of it. We're not getting into the math of it, but this is what happens. And then we can see it here. If we extend this, what we need to do is find some points here with frequency 0 and here, and we join it such that we get a complete curve, which was earlier an open curve. And because of this, the total area of the histogram and this curve matches. So for that, we have a great trick that we can use here. We can simply add a preceding and the succeeding class with frequency 0. What it means is we can extend our table such that we have a preceding class here and the succeeding class here, and it will be in the same midpoints as this. So the preceding midpoint of 26 would be 22, because in the data we can see 26 is there, then plus 430 is there, then plus 434 is there. So the preceding class would have the midpoint 22. And here the frequency would be 0. So the point can be 22, 0. Whereas in the succeeding class, 46 plus 4, that is 50. The frequency would still here be 0, and the point would be 50, 0. Now that we have both of these points also, then we can make a complete graph that would translate the histogram to a frequency polygon. So this is our data, and now let's build the graph on this data. So we'll plot the points and make the curve using freehand, because it's a freehand curve. And we do this simply to get an idea of what the representation looks like. So we'll use a freehand. We'll just take these points. So we just take these points here, because these are the points on which we want to construct the graph. So let's take our graph. So we have a graph here, and the x-axis would be the age mark, whereas the y-axis would be the number of teachers, the cumulative frequency in this y-axis. And note here, while the y-axis starts at 0, the x-axis starts at 16, which means there is a broken axis here. And this is how we show it. This shows that this is a broken axis. Alright, now all that is left to do is to construct the points. So let's take the points one by one. So we have 22, 0, so that would be 22, 0, so it would be here. 26, 12, so that's 26, and that's 12, so it would be here. 30, 10, so that's 30, and 10, so it would be here. 34, 15, so that's 34, 15 would be here somewhere, so that's 34, 15. 38, 9, so that's 38, and 9 would be here, so it would be 38, 9 here. 42, 8, so that's 42, and 8 would be here, so it would be somewhere here. 46, 6, so we have a 46 here, and 6 would be somewhere here, so that's 46, 6. And finally 50, 0, so that would be here. And note, 50, 0 and 22, 0 are the 2 points we used to complete the frequency polygon, right? And now all that is left to do is to construct all these points with a freehand curve. So let's do that. So we get this. And this is it. This is how you create a frequency polygon with a freehand curve. So that's all about it. Thank you.